Welcome back to Exposed. Continuing our discussion on Halloween, I just wanted to talk about, I guess, dressing appropriately, and specifically towards young women.
Underagers?
Yeah, and yeah, and like
the female attire, you mean?
Yes, like Mean Girls is one of my favorite movies, and for those who know the movie, they kind of know the quote that Halloween is like the girl's excuse to dress like a slut. What is your take on that?
I think it's completely true.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like, you know, like Halloween is supposed to be like scary, but it's not like that anymore. I mean, people dress, you know, like it like you said, it's an excuse, and it is, I guess. It's the only time someone can call you down for like dressing like a certain way, you know, like.
Well, you know, like, yeah, you're right. It is a way an excuse, but I don't know. For younger generations, it really isn't. It really shouldn't be.
Yeah.
It should be, you know, the whole dress, a nice princess outfit, or a skeleton costume. It's not really a way. It's more for adults, I guess.
Yeah, I just find it like, you know, you see like 16, 17, like, I mean, even 18 you're legal, but still, like, should you be dressing like this, like wearing like fishnets?
That's what I'm saying. Like all those
4-inch heels.
Skimpy, slutty costumes, as you would say, are really for like more adults. And you see the underage, even 14, you'll see them. They'll be wearing all that, and it's not really appropriate. Not to mention, it doesn't really look good. You may think it does, but
yeah, like
for a 14-year-old to be wearing some a skirt like past your knees, or you know, barely anything, is really not something you should be seeing.
To me, like, I went to a pretty like conservative high school, and so I'm always like, that stuff is like embedded in my head about like appropriateness, and I just find it like kind of pathetic. But I'm curious to see what I guess a guy's take on this issue is like.
I think we all know what Hogan thinks. I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean, when it's appropriate, like for the certain age, I mean, that's fine with me. I have no problem with that. But when it's like 16s, 17s, sometimes it even goes down to 15. It just gets weird at a certain point.
I want to know, like, where are they going to dress like this? Like, are they actually going outside and like trick or treating, or like?
Yeah, I find, like, you know, even when I was, like, little, you know, like, we first started going out, like, I don't really remember that kind of thing, like, where everyone was dressed, like, really skimpy and stuff, and, like, now it seems like that's all it ever is, but, I mean, it's not surprising because we're bombarded with these images of everything revolves around sex these days, so it's, like, you know, like, I mean...
I think that's the only thing that's sold now, though, is just skimpy.
Yeah.
Well, you go to any Giggles or any really store, that's all they sell now.
Yeah.
Or the only way you can get like a really good like costume like what we used to get is like Walmart or Zellers, where you find like full body costumes.
I made mine last year.
I was a grape one year. It was like the best costume ever. Even though like I looked like a complete nerd, but like.
Did you make the costume?
I did.
How were you a grape?
It's kind of embarrassing, but it's like a purple dress with like literally balloons everywhere, and like a pumpkin like hat thing. I was a badass grape.
I usually, like, I don't know, people think like that's like the first thing that comes to their head, you know, like, oh, it's Halloween now, like I'm gonna go like buy some skimpy like outfit. But it's like when I in my high school too, we had like this thing at Halloween where it was like a contest, you know, who could be the most creative thing, and like people were like I don't know, you could do anything. Like my friends were a box of crayons, like they were all each like they came up with like they looked like the crayon box, they were that, and like, you know, like things, I don't know, you could be anything.
In high school, a group of my friends, there was 4 of us, and we went as the Ninja Turtles, and like we made like our own shells. It was just like, I don't know, you don't really see that type of stuff right now. It's always like the short skirts and like the fishnet stockings, heels, and it's like I was looking, well, I already bought my Halloween costume, and like looking online, it's like Alice in Wonderland is really in right now because of the movie, and they don't even look like the characters. It's just like a slutty version of like the Queen of Hearts or like Mad Hatter.
Yeah.
Speaking of costumes, what was your favorite costume that you ever wore?
Oh, my grape one, definitely.
I was a pirate like 3 times. So
Really?
I have to be a pirate now.
I think last year I was a mustard bottle with a.
Really?
Yeah, and I had like an old man mask, and it was really scary. Like people were scared. I didn't think it was scary. I thought it was funny, but people thought it was. Apparently, people are really scared of mustard. It's like it's a real thing, like for real.
Phobia.
Yeah, it is to some people.
Wow.
Along with like Halloween parties and scantily clad women, there's a lot of drinking, and I think people just have to be responsible about it. And I mean, like personally, I don't think there's anything cool about being so drunk that you can't stand up and like.
Or remember what happens.
Yeah, or like you can't even talk properly. Like it's just embarrassing, and I don't know. Like personally, I find that really, again, pathetic when people are proud of it. Like I don't know if any of you have come across like attitudes like that, but.
I think what like scares me the most about Halloween is that there's all these little kids like walking around and. You know, like at night, and some of them want to stay out later, and you know they do, and they're like, I don't know. Normally, you wouldn't be allowed to stay out that late or be by yourself at that like time, you know, and just like around. And Halloween seems to be the exception, and it's scary because there's people out there who are driving and they're drunk, and there's kids walking around, and you can't always see them. You know, I don't know. It's scary. So if you're gonna drink, don't get in a car. Like, please.
Well, you also have to say, like...
to, like, your friends.
Yeah,
like,
just walk like everyone else. Who cares if you're drunk?
You know, you also have to think, like, not only, like, are there people drinking and driving, but you're also mingling, like, 16, 17, 18-year-olds with 5, 6, 7-year-olds. You know, you're mixing, like, all the youth, regardless of their age, together. Some of them go out by themselves, you know. They're going right down one street, and you have, like, a bunch of people going down. They're all mixed in, so you don't know what's going to happen. You know, there's also the dangers of that. You know, what if there's people drinking and they figure, okay, well, we will go trick or treating.
Yeah, hopefully, Halloween's on a Sunday, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully there's no partying on Sunday.
Early night.
Hopefully everyone has school the next day, but for work that's just a dream of mine. Along with, I guess, the partying, drinking aspect, there's also, like, you know, when there's drinking...
Vandalism.
Yeah, definitely vandalism. Like we mentioned the cars that were on fire, and I've never done anything for Mad Night or Mat Night or whatever it's referred to as these days, but don't do anything stupid, like...
Don't set cars on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not funny, but...
No,
like
it's
people
not
actually
funny,
do, like people
seriously.
someone actually did that, like, or it was an accident, I don't know, whatever. But I find, like, especially in Kahnawake, like, vandalism has been getting, like, worse and worse. Like, it used to just be like spray painting. Now it's like going to like a whole other different thing, you know, like spray painting on people's houses and
Or spray painting their cars.
yeah, their cars, or like even on the road. I seen like really like nasty stuff about people written on the road. It's like, really, do you really want your town to look like that?
Or like on the bike paths.
Yeah, it's like, you know, like little kids walk on there with their parents or stuff, you know, and they're gonna read that and be like, oh, well, what's this? It's like, well, you know, like, was that really necessary?
It's not like it's not just like
you have to do that.
It's not just like a lack of respect for like the community or to that if it's on private property, but it's making Kahnawake look really ugly and unattractive.
Yeah, I mean, there's always gonna be like, you know, those people who make it look bad for everyone else, and like that's one of those things, you know.
And it's something that, well, as youth, like, do you find like we always kind of get that stereotype that we're like these kind of like juvenile delinquents, and even though it's like only some people, like we're not all
everybody
like
gets
that.
it. The whole youth get the rep.
All right, well, on that note, we'll take another break and we'll be back with more Exposed.